games. Whoop, let's go. Hursty Games, and this how we do. Now it's time we team up.
Hey there guys, welcome back to Hursty Games and welcome to another FIFA 21 concept card making video. Now this time I've gone with players that at the time of recording haven't actually confirmed a deal anywhere yet, but are heavily linked, and I do think we'll probably end up making a move to a team of some sort. Now some of these players are linked to multiple clubs, some of them are heavily linked to just the one, and obviously I'll explain my reasonings, obviously explain the differences on the cards from their regular cards in FIFA 20, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. Again, it's another fun little concept, and hopefully you guys like it. So let me know in the comment sections if you do. Let me know if there's any players you'd like to see in other videos. But for now, let's get into this one and hopefully enjoy. Okay, so the first player on this list is a player that I think it is just inevitable that we see them go, and that is Jadon Sancho, who has been linked to a lot of different clubs in England, especially Man United, Chelsea, and I think Arsenal are looking at him. I'm sure City are probably throwing themselves in the mix too, but I think Man United or Chelsea seem the most likely. If you want to ask my opinion, I think it'll be United that get him. I think Chelsea have spent quite a bit of money already, and they've got other players that they are heavily linked with. So I think if he's going to go anywhere, I think United is possibly looking likely, but I do think they'll have to sell a few players because I think there'll be a lot of competition for similar positions in the squad. But I've upgraded him to an 87. I think that is very much justified. I would have gone to an 88, but a +4 seems like a whole lot. So I thought a +3 seems fair. I think he has had a phenomenal season. I think his shooting definitely deserved a big boost on what it was. But I think this card will be really cool if we see it. And if it's in England, obviously it takes out that Bundesliga English link for now. That someone, you know, some people would really like to have that Bundesliga English link anyway. But I think he'll be a fantastic card, and I think you'll see him in a lot of teams. Okay, up next, a player that actually a bid has just been agreed from Man City to sign Nathan Ake in the region of about £40 million. But Bournemouth, I think, will be losing Ake anyway. I don't see them holding on to him in the Championship. But he is going to be a player that's going to, I think, have a fantastic season wherever he goes. But B, if he goes to City, I think he would actually get a fair bit of game time because centre-back is a position they need to fill. So realistically, I think Ake would be a really good pickup. And I think even if he doesn't go to City, regardless of the fact that bid has just been put on and apparently accepted, I think he will go anyway, just because I don't see him playing in the Championship. I see him going to a Premier League team especially. But honestly, again, another upgrade. 82 I think is fair. 83 wouldn't surprise me if he does go to City, because they do like to give these bigger teams the board players. But I do think an 82 is probably a fair reflection. And again, I think his defensive physicality deserved a big boost too. And I think this is a card that we're fairly likely to see. And I think will be used fairly often in that early stages of the game. He's the kind of card that obviously we don't know what the meta is yet in FIFA 21. But I'm assuming he'll fit that defensive meta in being, you know, pretty quick for a centre-back. Okay, the third player on our list is a player that's again been linked to a lot of moves. Again, Man United being one of the main teams linked to him, and that is Jack Grealish. Now, I've upgraded him to an 82, which I think is justified. I think he has had a pretty darn good season. Even though they did stay in the Premier League, I think there is a chance Grealish could still go. The fact they stayed up, in my opinion, just makes his value higher. The fact they don't have to sell him if they don't want to. Premier League football is probably what he's looking for as a main sort of accomplishment. So if he's getting that, I'm fairly sure he'll be happy to stay at Villa, as he is a bit of a hero for them. And, you know, there's no denying he's a great player. So I think an 82 is definitely warranted in the upgrade. His best stat being dribbling. His card is one of those cards that doesn't look massively desirable because there's a few stats that are quite low. And for an 82 rated card, the face stats on it are very low, and that happens with quite a lot of cards on FIFA. And I think Jack Grealish, if he was to get an upgrade and a one to watch, I think that would be what we see. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jack Grealish. The fact that his value is now a lot higher because they didn't get relegated, it'll be interesting to see A, who comes in for him, and B, if he does go, what he goes for. Okay, the next player on our list is another player that's potentially moving from the Bundesliga across to England, and that is Kai Havertz. He's been heavily linked to a lot of clubs, mainly Chelsea. Chelsea seem fairly confident in picking him up. 70 million is a number I've heard thrown around sort of a few times in picking him up, and I think an 86 rated card would probably be what we expect here, going up from an 84. He's had a very good season. I think Sancho's season has been more impressive, which is why I upgraded him from 84 to an 87, giving him the +3 where Havertz have only given a +2. But this card would be a really good card, and I think a card that a lot of people would like to try and get into their teams nice and early. Even if he doesn't get a one to watch, if he does go to England, I wouldn't be surprised to see Havertz run in a lot of teams. Obviously, A, German, so he gets those links to the Bundesliga teams if need be. But B, if he does go across, Werner and Havertz as a perfect link is going to be incredible. And I think you'll see a lot of people trying to run that early on, especially if Havertz does get a big upgrade and if Werner gets a big upgrade too. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I think Havertz is probably fairly likely to get the move, and if he moves, then I think a one to watch is a no-brainer. I'd be very surprised if we don't see it, especially considering how good of a season he has had. And if he goes to the Prem, I think that's a bit of a madness. So I would expect to see this card if he gets his move. After him, another player that's been linked to an English team from the Bundesliga, and that is Thiago from Bayern Munich, and he's been linked quite heavily to Liverpool. I don't know if I saw some of it's not that the move's fallen through, but the move seems to have sort of hit a bit of a stalemate. I don't know whether that's true or whether I'm making that up. I'm fairly sure I heard that. So it'll be interesting to see if this move does go across the line. If he does, again, it's going to be one of those cards. It's like the higher rated sort of card from the one to watch, but it's almost semi-undesirable. It's the kind of card you see a lot of people tend to use for fodder. I think Thiago's been used for fodder a lot this year already. But if he does get upgraded to something like an 88, it felt weird giving him a higher rated card than Sancho. But if he's going to get upgraded, I do think he'll only get a +1 because obviously he's an 87 at the moment this year. But I think it'll be a really interesting card. I think it's got great dribbling, great passing. We don't know what the meta is going to be. Let's say dribblers and passers are a big part of next year's meta. Thiago could be a very, very good and very, very viable card. So if he does move potentially to Liverpool, I think he'll get himself a one to watch just because of the hype around him. Now, this next one was a tricky one to make, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you've only included him because he's QPR. No, I've included Ebere Eze because I think, A, I do think he is going to move. I do sadly think he'll be leaving QPR in the transfer window. But B, I think there's a lot of prospect around him. I think he's going to be a very, very good young player, and I honestly think whoever picks him up is going to do really, really well. Now, he's linked to pretty much every other Premier League team under the sun, and it's a bit mad the amount of teams that are coming in for him. Spurs, Palace, Leeds seem to be kind of leading the way a little bit. West Ham are also showing quite big interest. A lot of people showing money bids, a lot of people showing money and players. It'll be interesting to see what does happen eventually. But regardless of where he goes, I do think Ebere Eze will get himself a one to watch if it's a move to the Prem. Now, I've upgraded his card from a 71 to a 77. That's quite a big upgrade. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 75 or a 76 either. I do think he is going to get himself a gold card, and if he does get his move to the Prem, I think he will get himself a one to watch because he'll have a decent market value, numbers between 20 and 30 million. So I do think EA will have their ears pricked up for that and definitely think that, you know what, let's give him a one to watch, because I think if he can get a couple of good games under his belt, he's the kind of player in the Prem that, you know, will get a goal, get an assist, end up getting a cheeky man of the match somewhere, and will get an upgrade. And I seriously think that there'll be a lot of hype around Ebere Eze in the Prem. And if he does make his move, I am fairly confident he'll get a one to watch. It'll be sad to see him go, but it is what it is. I don't think we're going to keep him. Okay, our penultimate player is Ferran Torres, who's been heavily linked from a move from Valencia to Man City. A wide player, not entirely sure Man City need any more of those, but if he does make his move, it's the kind of thing you see as one of those stinker one-to-watch cards. People who probably won't get much game time, but will get thrown a one-to-watch just to kind of fill out the promo and have a couple of low-rated cards. And I think Ferran Torres will fit that bill very, very easily. I don't know too much about Torres, I'll be brutally honest. I don't know how amazing his season has been. I've had a look at a couple of stats and given him a little bit of an upgrade to a 77 and upgraded his stats accordingly. But that honestly was based a little bit more on just a bit of guesswork rather than much information or knowledge. But I think Ferran Torres will be an interesting one, but I think it's going to be one of those quite pointless ones. I don't think he's going to play much, therefore I don't think he's going to get many upgrades. But Ferran Torres, if he does make his move again to Man City, then who knows? And last but not least, Wilfried Zaha, a player who's been linked away for many, many seasons, has handed in yet another transfer request. I'm not too sure if he's going to move. I'll be brutally honest, I don't know what's going to happen to Wilfried Zaha. I think a £70 million price tag is what's been put on him. Realistically, I don't see many teams, especially in England, willing to pay that. I think if he's going to get that move, it's going to be somewhere abroad to a team with a substantial amount of money. But with the likes of Eze being linked to Palace, and they're probably linked with other players as well, if they do actually get somebody in to replace Zaha, then I think it's more likely for him to go, because that's never really happened. They've never really found a replacement for Zaha, which is why I think it's one of the main reasons he's never left. But £70 million is a big, big amount of money for a player that's not really had a very good season or two. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes. I've kept him at an 83. He's the only player I didn't actually upgrade in this. I've tweaked his stats just a little bit, lowered a few, raised a few up. But realistically, Zaha is the one I'm least confident on because £70 million. I don't know who's going to pay that for him. It must be a big move from a team abroad, but we'll wait and see. But that there is the final one to watch card on this list. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. I love making these kind of concept videos. They're a lot of fun to make. And honestly, I like being able to, look up teams, look up players, check out the transfer news and all of this stuff. I really enjoy it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed these videos. If you do, then please do leave a like on the video. It's greatly appreciated. Comment down below if there's any other players you think I've maybe missed out on or to include in another one. Let me know your thoughts. I'm thinking about doing one for people I might consider being added as icons or icons I would love to see. So let me know if you want to see that as well in the comments down below. But if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. It'd be amazing if you could join us and help us build this family, man. You guys are insane. The support has been absolutely fantastic. And make sure you turn on notifications to be told anytime that we upload a video or indeed go live with a live stream. For now, guys, I want to say a massive thank you for watching. I've been Tom. You guys have been awesome. And I'll see you soon. Look after yourselves. And of course, wash your hands. In a bit.
Let's go. Hursty games, and this how we do. Now it's time we team up. Check them online, you might catch them playing FIFA. Hey, yeah, you know we keep it live. Make sure to give a like and subscribe. Gaming channel, what's the best one? Keep it hella dope, hella fresh, huh? Yeah, Hursty games, tune in. Even told my grandmama, sister, and my best friend. You might want to check them if you want to be entertained. You already know the name. Check us out, Hursty games. Hey, whoop. Make sure to give a like and subscribe.